All right. Hi, everyone, both virtually and in person. My name is Garrison Anderson. I work on the marketing team here at Matter. I support a lot of the venture acceleration programs and the marketing of those services to our startup incubator members. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about our startup incubation membership, and we have Mike McGarry, who's the Senior Vice President of Venture Acceleration at Matter here today to give a bit of an overview of the membership and address any questions you may have. I'm also here to address questions too, but Mike has a few slides to go over our services, and then we can just have a conversation if there are any curiosities and things that you want to know more about Matter, about the services we offer to startups. So Mike, go ahead, take it away, and we'll go from there.
Right. Thank you, Garrison, and good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. As Garrison mentioned, I'll share a screen real quick here. It's 10, 15 slides, something like that. We'll get through those fairly quickly. It looks like we're going to have sort of a medium small group today, so it should allow for a lot of questions and conversation. So I want to make sure we got enough time for that. So if the Zoom gods are with me, I will share screen. All right. Entrepreneurship with Matter. Our mission at the organization is to accelerate the pace of change of healthcare. This is a little bit easier said than done, but we believe this at our core. And obviously our member companies, the entrepreneurs that we work with, the startups we work with are central to that mission. But as we'll cover a little bit more, we also do a lot of work with industry as well. That could be the payers and providers. It could be industry stakeholders, banking and finance, legal companies. And we try and bring as many of these connections and community to our members as possible, but all in the goal of accelerating the path forward, getting the right products to market faster is another way that we would say that. Our core belief, and in line with all the various stakeholders I just mentioned, collaboration between entrepreneurs, industry is the fastest and most effective way to do this. The work we have to do, when I say we, I'm talking the collective we, Matter and our members. It's far too complicated, far too intricate. From raising capital to getting pilot studies up and going, customer discovery work, et cetera, is remarkably challenging, very resource intensive. And the way we achieve, try and do more with less, essentially, is through collaboration. Our model relies on three separate areas. Today, we're going to talk primarily about the startup incubation side of the equation, but just making you aware of other parts of the organization. On the far right, corporate innovation. We work with a lot of large corporate partners. These could be, for example, a lot of large pharma companies we work with, foundations like the American Heart Association, and we run accelerators on their behalf. And we try and drive internal innovation for those organizations. In the middle is the community nexus, and I again hit on that just a little bit, but really bringing together industry executives and entrepreneurs. That could be oftentimes direct one-on-one interactions. You might meet with someone at a community event that we host, have some follow-up activities. We run a lot of member exclusive events where we try and then connect those speakers that present at those events with our members to provide more one-on-one interaction. We also work to bring our community of startups together. Really important to appreciate and understand that we often learn more from other startups than we do the industry experts, right? Other entrepreneurs that are going through the same journey that you are going through. Hey, how did you tackle this problem when you were trying to raise capital? How'd you build your network of investors? Those sorts of things. Oftentimes can learn as much from our network of startups as well as industry. Matter is the largest community of healthcare innovators. A little sizzle slide here. We've been around a little over 10 years. I won't read this word for word. I'll leave it up for a sec just so everyone can take a quick glance at it. But in short, we've worked with thousands of startups, hundreds of industry organizations. Our startups collectively have raised an impressive amount of capital, $5.3 billion in total capital raised from those 1,000 member companies. And when you look at the types of companies, this is a common question we get. Who do you work with? Do you specialize with digital health, with life sciences? We do have a fairly broad portfolio of companies that we work with. We do, not by any choice. It just seems that there's a lot of activity in the last few years, especially around digital health. So we do see a bias towards digital health companies, smaller representation from life sciences and service companies, but we do have experts and resources within our network to support a very broad portfolio of companies. And when you look at our partners, as I mentioned, fairly evenly distributed between providers and services, life sciences companies, associations, payers, and universities. So again, pretty broad representation there. 24 data, we haven't pulled the 2025 data together. It should look roughly the same. Matter, although we do have strong roots in the Chicago land area, we are definitely a national, if not international organization. So in 2024, overall, we had 272 companies in our portfolio, 117 cities across 11 countries. Most of the countries, I assume most everyone on the call today is within the US. If not, it seems most of the US or companies we work with outside the US are looking to break in the US market. So just for clarity, we don't have a deep understanding of, the healthcare ecosystem in Israel, for example, but we do have a lot of companies, or a handful of companies from Israel that work with us to engage the US market. The member experience, we really work to focus on three primary areas: help build business capabilities. That could be your strategic roadmap. That could be best practices around hiring. That could be things around regulatory and reimbursement. We don't necessarily cover, we expect you bring the expertise around the product itself. So sometimes we get questions around, oh, do you have teams of developers that can help us with code? Or, do you have resources or space available for prototyping, right? So we really leave the product to you, and we really work and then support, all the business aspects of building your business. Part of that, of course, developing fundraising capabilities. A big part of your journey as an entrepreneur is raising capital. I'll get into that in just a little bit. And then learning from the best in healthcare. We've got an extensive network of experts that work with our member companies. We'll get some details about that in just a second as well. Try and keep the process as simple as possible. We have two different membership options. We'll talk about those in just a sec, but really simple process. It starts by submitting an online application. We'll share a link to that application. Our team then reviews applications on a weekly basis. If we determine from that application that it's a good fit, and that's a really important word for us. We're looking for fit. We're not trying to determine if your company is a good company, a bad company, a good idea, a bad idea. We're really looking for, is the company you're building a good fit for the resources we have? Are you going to get true value out of your time with Matter? So we're really looking for fit. We first look at the application. If we determine looks like there's potential for good fit, we'll then set up an interview with you. Usually takes about a week to get that coordinated. Again, as a team, then we'll review the information that we pulled from the interview. Should it make sense? We believe that there's good fit on both sides, right? We expect that you're interviewing us as much as we're interviewing you. Should there be a good fit? We approve the application. Pretty straightforward onboarding process with a discovery session where you'll meet other members of the team. We'll get a little bit more detail about your company. Most importantly, your near-term priorities and what you're really looking to accomplish in the next 3 to 6 months. Part of that is a roadmap assessment. That's a digital tool that we ask all of our members to complete. This gives us a deeper understanding of where your strengths are, where some of your gaps might be, so that we can point you to the most appropriate resources. And then we're off to the races. Start you build your company. Start to end, maybe about 3 weeks from the application process to getting you, into the mix. Spending a little bit more time digging deeper into the actual, programs or services that we offer, starting with our mentorship and coaching. We have 2 primary programs: our executive in residence. We have about 25, 26, what we call EIRs, executive in residence. They work directly with you on a one-to-one basis, right? So each member company is assigned an EIR. The intention is that EIR is with you, again, longitudinal, sticks with you. Our average membership is about 24 months. That's, on average, how long companies stick with us. Oftentimes you have the same EIR throughout that whole period. They serve as a strategic advisor to you and your team. If it's not a good fit, It's not set in stone. We can switch out the EIR. If your company evolves, you require a little bit different expertise or input than they can offer. Again, can switch that EIR. But again, the intent is longitudinal support for you through this expert. The expert clinic, a little bit different. We've got about 140 experts in the expert clinic. These individuals have more domain-specific knowledge. They might be, again, experts in regulatory and reimbursement, go-to-market strategy, those sorts of things. These experts are available to our members on more of an ad hoc basis. So you might meet with an expert that has a very specific skill set to provide some guidance for a trouble point that you have. Hey, we're looking to get a little more guidance on our regulatory strategy. You might meet with them once, maybe twice, and then maybe never again, right? So again, more ad hoc, as needed basis for that community of experts. And then, of course, the Matter team, we're here to support you every step of the way. Fundraising support, sort of a narrow scope of those experts that we work with. We have a handful of venture fellows that work with us. They support you in that fundraising journey. We do this through a number of ways, primarily through material feedback and pitch practice, right? We want to make sure that you, not only as a company, are prepared and ready to meet with investors, but also just the pitch itself, the pitch deck, the presentation style. Are you getting your message across? Are you hitting all the right data points? Is your message going to resonate, with the venture capital investor? So a lot of feedback. That's usually an iterative process. On average, I'd say we're maybe going through 3-4 cycles with most members. The timing of that is really dependent on you. If we provide some feedback and it's, hey, we really need some more customer discovery data to really bolster the claims you're making, it might take you a couple of months to generate that data to support the claims that you want to make about your business. It might be just more formatting type stuff that you can turn around a new deck in a matter of a week, right? So we really encourage our entrepreneurs to take the time necessary, though, to really create a solid presentation, a solid story, solid value proposition. Oftentimes, you might get a second shot, but most venture capital investors, they make their first impression in the first couple of minutes, right? So we want to make sure that first impression you make is really strong. We do have a network of sort of a 2-tiered network of investors that we work with. The first tier we call our Catalyst Network. It's about 25 venture capital investors in there. We have a history of working with them closely. They've got a history of investing in Matter companies. We work on a very collaborative basis with them, and we do our best when there's a good fit to make introductions from our portfolio companies to those investors. The second tier we have a little bit broader, a little over 200 venture capitalists in our network. We have more of a transactional relationship with that broader network. We send out on a regular basis a newsletter to that cohort of investors, spotlighting companies in the Matter portfolio that are actively raising capital. If they see something that's of interest to them, they'll then reach back to us and say, hey, we'd like to get a meeting set up with these, with this company. But again, more transactional. We don't work with them as closely, more through newsletters and regular communications. We have a wealth of on-demand resources, digital curriculum. These are, again, everything from what's a cap table and what's a good cap table look like, other forms around, setting up a good clinical study or information on setting up good clinical studies, setting up pilot studies. Again, a wealth of information that's available to you on demand. The professional service directory, we've got, I think it's about 40 or 50 vendors that we have sort of a preferred relationship with. They offer discounts to Matter members. To be clear, this is outside of the Matter membership costs. It's a relationship that you would coordinate and contract with them directly. But these could be services around accounting, for example, marketing, or helping you, build your pitch deck, building out graphic designs for that sort of thing. The knowledge library, again, just a wealth of information about the industry, current trends. These are going to be white papers and other publications that are available to you to help bolster your understanding of the industry. And of course, the mentor booking goes back to our expert clinic. You do that through the portal to make it as easy as possible. Dynamic community. I hit this a little bit earlier, but we do offer our member exclusive opportunities. These are industry experts that come and either present in person at our, for those of you in the Matter office today, in the Matter office, a large percentage of them, though, are virtual, recognizing that most of our members are either outside the Chicago area or even the ones inside Chicago, the Chicago area might have schedule conflicts, doesn't allow them to come into the office. So we do most of our work remotely for these member exclusive opportunities. And as I mentioned earlier, we really try and spotlight some of the greatest or most pressing topics in industry, and then make that speaker available to our members, not only for the Q&A during the session itself, but oftentimes the presenters are more than willing to set up time one-on-one afterwards just for a quick follow-up discussion, perhaps to discuss the specific nuances of your business. HQ away from home, again, for those of you that are in the office, you've gotten a quick tour. Every member has access to the Matter space in downtown Chicago. Classrooms, auditorium, meeting rooms, co-working space. It's a gorgeous space. And even those that aren't in the Chicago area benefit from the space. We've got a number of members. Oftentimes they'll have maybe a quarterly meeting with their team. They'll all converge on Chicago and meet in the Matter space. Maybe they'll meet with investors there. So again, space available to you as needed. And then we offer a Slack channel to connect all of our members as well. Membership tiers. We offer 2 membership tiers currently. The select membership, $400 a month. We do not take any equity in our businesses. There's no additional fees. It's month to month. To be very clear as well, Matter is not a fund. We do not invest in our portfolio companies as well. That makes us a little bit different than a lot of the accelerators and incubators that are out there in the market. We offer, again, straight membership basis, and we try and make it as flexible as possible. Right? There's no used car salesman, no hard sell here. If it's a good fit, we'd love to support you in every way we can. It's not uncommon. It's a tough business. If startups get tight on finances, not uncommon. We'll see a member, cancel their membership and then rejoin 6 months later. Again, we're here to support you. I covered most of the bullet points here in the prior slides, so I won't go through those. But we do also offer a flex membership. If you're thinking you're not ready, the company's not mature enough yet, you're still trying to figure out what's the business I'm trying to build. That's really what the flex membership is for. That is free to anyone that wants to participate, and it provides access to all those digital resources that we talked about. So all of the in-person, the consulting, the expert clinic is not part of the flex membership. It's sort of a self-paced program to help you really shape your business and get it to the point where you're ready to really start building. And that's it for slides. I will stop sharing. And we haven't done the hybrid model before. So, Garrison, maybe if you want to handle or kind of navigate questions with those in the room, and then I can handle the ones that come in online.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, any questions from anyone in the room here or virtually? If you want to come off mute or drop a question in the chat, happy to talk about any topics Mike covered, or if you have lingering curiosities on other topics, we can chat about those as well. Yeah, go ahead. What's your name, by the way?
I'm Mary.
Mary.
Yeah, nice to meet everybody. So, if I'm doing something that doesn't have a very large research basis, and so I can't really leverage existing research on it, and it's an intervention, but it has a unique, a unique approach to this intervention. Results for this would take about minimum 6 months. How does that work then in with this timeline? Can I run longitudinal clinical studies and all of that kind of stuff? Do people typically do that? I don't know what kind of proof I really need to be able to say, to make the claims that I'm going to obviously want to make.
So one, absolutely, we have a number of members that I would consider even, still in the aspirational phase, very much as you are. Got a great idea, understand where you want to go with it, but not really don't have that certainty yet of what that clinical data is going to look like, or even some of the customer discovery, the market data. That's what the expert clinic and the EIR are really about, to help you navigate that and hopefully make those decisions in a more efficient way. Efficient meaning both in a timely way, but also making better decisions so we don't incur or don't encounter a lot of mistakes and have to redo things, right? Oftentimes that's one of the biggest challenges for early stage companies is, they get 6 months down the road and they go, oh, we're looking at the wrong endpoints for this clinical study, and it's very expensive then to have to kind of hit the brakes and restart in a new direction. And so you're at the absolute stage that we would encourage you to engage our experts in the expert clinic and our executives in the executive residence.
Okay, and so then longer term projects are fine here. Like I
Yes.
heard a time frame that said something like, oh, about 3 months of, proving out what you need to make the claims. And that's what I was wondering, like, what if it takes longer? Are we gonna get kicked out?
Yeah. Well, one, we'll never kick you out. As long as you want to be a member, we'll keep you here. You might have heard some information around the accelerators that we run. The accelerators do tend to be more time bound, usually about 8 to 12 weeks. And those companies tend to be a little bit more advanced in their journey, for sure. That was that corporate partnership side of the business that I referenced very early on. Average membership for the Venture Acceleration Program is roughly 23, 24 months. Last time we ran the numbers, middle of last year. So, our intent is to support you from concept to commercialization.
And Mary, I can follow up after this conversation, maybe expand on that point a little bit more.
Excellent, thank you. Thank you.
Any other
Sure thing.
questions from the room or virtually? Feel free to go off mute and ask.
I've got one. Hey, could you talk a little bit more about your health system network in Chicago and just the general Midwest area with Northwestern, U Chicago, Ascension, et cetera?
Yeah. So I joined Matter about a year ago. So, Garrison, if you want to add some more historical color, but we do have solid relationships with a number, if not most, of the health systems in and around Chicago. All the ones you mentioned and more: Rush, University of Chicago, Northwestern, Endeavor. Historically, we've worked with them as corporate partners. So we've worked to help them drive their internal innovation and help them identify early stage solutions that are aligned with their strategic direction. We do have some relationships. We're working to build these out more. We're in the early stages of discussion. So this is, I'm projecting the future here. But in the early stages of discussions with the American College of Healthcare Executives, they've got over 50,000 members in their network, all usually director or above executives at health systems across the US. So we continue to expand our network, and then to create better opportunity, better relationships, so that we can connect our portfolio companies with those health systems. We also do lean heavily on a lot of the experts in our expert clinic, a handful of our AIRs. These are individuals that actually work full-time in health systems as well. So through community events, through our experts in the expert clinic and others, we work to bring member companies together with not only, again, health systems, but also payers and other industry stakeholders.
Nice. And as healthcare is becoming more employer oriented, is that something that Matter's thinking about, those not only health system relationships, but employer relationships too?
Yeah, absolutely. And great question and phenomenal observation. Yes, that is absolutely where the industry is headed. Cheryl Morgan is a group. They're out of Cleveland. We ran an event with them sort of back half of last year. They manage a lot of contracts with large self-insured employers. So, for example, we had one of our members just sign an agreement with them to run pilots with a number of their employer clients. So absolutely on our radar, and as I said, continuing to expand our reach there. Some of those discussions are early enough that I won't share names, but yes, absolutely on our radar, and recognize that is not only a growing area, but one thing we've identified is employers seem to have much more aligned incentives, meaning they're willing to pilot new solutions because they benefit directly from either the improved outcomes or the cost savings. Whereas the relationship between the provider and the payer can be a little disconnected, right? So the insurance company may or may not be willing to reimburse or pay for something that would benefit the patient, or the health system might want to use something that currently isn't reimbursed. It would benefit the patient and help the health system, but wouldn't benefit the payer. So again, industry dynamic that, exists. I'm not saying we're going to solve it as Matter, but that's why we see the employer space as well as favorable in the years ahead.
Makes sense, yeah. I work in payer contracting, so I see the same thing. It's a battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great example. I'll just reiterate one thing Mike said of, we do member exclusive programming, webinars and workshops. He mentioned Cheryl Morgan, who we did one with previously. And we really focus on trying to put together people that are in the industry, have a perspective, work with startups to help provide our startups with insight into whatever their area of healthcare is. And then oftentimes relationships will bloom out of that through that programming as well, like Mike mentioned with Cheryl. So
Question for you. So my company is in financial services actually, but we sort of sit at the intersection because it's sort of fintech company for older adults and caregivers. Curious around the sort of your work in the cognitive health and dementia space in one area, and around the sort of the whole caregiving component of it. Is that, I know that you've run some dementia challenges in the past, and I just wanted to sort of check in on the sort of depth of that.
Yeah, so we probably refer you to our partnerships team for the work they've done in the past, run accelerators. Again, those would be based on the corporate partners that they're working with and the specific endpoints or goals that that partner was trying to achieve. But yes, we have run some accelerators in the past on those topics. Specifically within the Venture Acceleration Program, we don't put guardrails around who we work with. So we do have a number of companies in the behavioral health space, cognitive health, even things as far off as supply chain management, right? We have a handful of companies, probably 2 or 3 companies that are creating solutions to help health systems better manage their supply chain, right? So a really broad portfolio of companies in the Venture Acceleration Program.
Got it.
Including, the ones that, under the headings that you just talked about.
Super. Thank you.
and I will say too, with having done a lot of programs for Alzheimer's, dementia, and longevity companies, a lot of our mentors and executives and residents are particularly familiar with those types of solutions in that vertical of healthcare. So just wanted to highlight that point as well.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, thanks for joining everyone.